Right, solve this equation, give your answer to 2 decimal places. So the clue there is the 2 decimal places. That means that you're going to have to use a calculator for this. So you can use the formula or you can use complete and square. Now this question, I want you to use the formula. So we need to know that our value of a is the number in front of x squared, so that's 2. Our value of b is the number in front of x, that's 6. And our value of c is the number on its own, the constant if you will, which is 1. So we use the formula x equals minus b, so I'm going to put the minus in, minus 6, and I put any number I substitute in brackets, plus or minus the square root of b squared, again 6 in brackets, minus 4, a is 2, and c is 1, all over 2a. Now make sure your bracket goes under all of this right hand side. Remember, what we're doing is working out what x is, so this this line here doesn't go over onto this side, that wouldn't make sense. X is equal to this fraction. X isn't part of this fraction. So let's remove all the brackets and do some of the work. So negative this positive 6, that's just negative 6, plus or minus square root of, so we've got 6 squared, that's 36, minus 4 times 2 times 1. 4 times 2 times 1 is 8, so it is minus 8. Done this a little bit too long, so I'll get rid of a little bit there. Over 2 times 2, which is 4. So we go minus 6 plus or minus the square root of 28 all over 4. Now there's 2 answers there. We do negative 6 plus root 28 over 4, and then we do negative 6 minus root 28 all divided by 4. Just bear in mind that you need to do the whole thing divided by 4. If you just type in negative 6 plus root 28 on your calculator and then divide by 4, it might just do the root 28 divided by 4. It's the whole thing that needs to be divided by 4. So good way to get around it is to press negative 6 plus root 28, press equals, and then divide by 4. Okay, I'm not going to work out those 2 values for you, I'm just going to move on to the next question. Question 13. A is 4, B is, now there's nothing in front of our x here, so it's just 1, and C is negative 7. Make sure you don't put 0 as any of these numbers, it is a 1 there. X equals minus B, so minus 1 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4, lots of A, lots of C. Now make sure you include the negative with the value of C there, all over 2A. Right, so we get negative 1 plus or minus the square root of, right, 1 squared is 1. Now we've got take away, 4 times 4, 16, 16 times negative 7. Well, that would be 70 plus 42, 112. Now, very common thing to do is to forget the negative here. There is a minus that is with this, that comes with the formula, and then we've got 3 numbers here, one of which is a negative, so this makes this whole thing negative. So really you mustn't forget to include both negatives there. 2 times 4 is 8. Now the 1 take away the negative 112 is going to be 1 plus 112, which is 113. So we get negative 1 plus or minus root 113 over 8. Again, you've got to work out them 2 values for yourself, but the last one I'm going to do is this one. A is 7, B is negative 25, and C is 2. X equals minus. Now we've got a negative value of B in here, so it's going to be negative 25. I'm still writing that in. Even if everything goes wrong and you get something wrong in an exam, if you've written this down, you still get one of the marks. And 2 lots of 7 now, yeah. So the negative 25 is 25. Now I know you could have probably done that. You could have probably thought, oh well, that's just going to be 25, isn't it? But it's better to be safe than sorry. I would really stick to one method that's always going to work and at least give you the safety net of giving you 1 mark. This negative 25, it's still going to be positive because it's a negative squared, so 25 times 25 is 625. 4 times 7, 28 times 2 is 56. There's no negative here, so it's going to be take away just a regular takeaway, unlike the last one. And 2 times 7 on the bottom, 14. So it's 25 plus or minus the square root of 569 over 14, whatever that comes to. Okay, we actually have a couple more questions on the using the formula. This one again, like an earlier question, isn't in the correct form, so we're going to put it in the correct form. Now I want the 11x squared there, I want a number of x on this left hand side, so I'm going to add 2x to both sides, take away 7 from both sides. It's going to be like that. Now just use the formula, a equals 11, b equals 2, c equals negative 7. So the formula only works on things in this form. Something x squared plus something x take away something equals 0. It's got to be equal 0. X equals minus 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 ac. This is one of the ones with a negative here and a negative here, all over 2 lots of 11. So, what do I go down here? Negative b, negative 2, plus or minus the square root of, so this is 2 squared, that's 4, take away 4 times 11, well, 4 times 7 is 28, times 11 is 280, 308, so it's negative 308 over 22. So it's going to be negative 2 plus or minus the square root of, the 4 take away the negative 308 is like 4 plus 308 is 312 over 22, and then you have to work that out. Shown is a right angle triangle. We've got another question like what we had before. It's Pythagoras theorem again, right? So we know that that squared is that squared plus that squared. So let's write that out. The hypotenuse squared equals that one squared plus that one squared. Right, so in longhand, 2x plus 1, 2x plus 1 equals x plus 5, x plus 5 plus x take away 2, x take away 2. Oh. So, first bracket, 2x times 2x, 4x squared, 1 times 2x and 1 times 2x, that is 4x. 1 times 1 is 1. This bracket here, this one, x squared plus 10x plus 25. This bracket here, ignore that bit, is x squared take away 4x plus 4. So simplify the right hand side. X squared plus x squared, that's 2x squared, 10x take away 4x is 6 plus 6x, and 25 plus 4 is 29. So the left hand side we just copy down, 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. Right, we're going to subtract amounts from both sides to make it equal 0. So that's going to be 2x squared. I've just taken 2x squared off both sides. I'm going to take 6x off both sides, so that's going to be minus 2x. And I'm going to subtract 29 from both sides, so that's going to be minus 28 equals 0. Well, that is not the same as that. However, if you notice, 14, 28, that's just half of that. So if I halve everything, half that, half the 0, cheekily that is just 0, there we go. X squared take away x take away 14 is 0. And finally it says find x. So I'm just looking at this, x squared take away x take away 14. Does it have any numbers for you to factorise it? So what are the factors of 14? 1 and 14, 2 and 7. No, it's not going to work, so we're going to have to use the formula or completing the square. So x equals minus b. I better write down what a, b and c are. A is 1, b is negative 1 and c is negative 14. So x equals minus b, and minus 1, plus or minus the square root of b squared, negative 1 squared, minus 4ac, all over 2a. So this is negative 1, that's 1, plus or minus the square root of, so this negative 1 squared is 1, 4 times 1 is 4 times negative 28, so it's going to be take away negative 56, all over 2, so 1 plus or minus square root of 57, remember it's take away a negative, all over 2, and you can work out the values of them. Now there's only one room for an answer there, and the reason being, if you did 1 take away the square root of 57, which is going to be something around negative 6.5, negative 6.5 divided by 2, negative 3.25. We're going to have a value of x that's negative 3.25. That means that one of these lengths here, that one say would be negative 5.25. So that doesn't make any sense. So we only want one value, so only work out the positive value, the 1 plus the root 57 divided by 2.